Happy you all are here on our channel. You should see the videos in their whole and comment at the ending of every one of them. The description contains more films that we have available.
From the rear of ancient Vicksburg, Mississippi, whispers cajolingly, a time capsule full of historical riches marred by conflict and upheaval from time preserved. Every night, this 18th century house plays back the numerous recollections of distinct etheric creatures. Like a gazing glass into the hereafter's unknown. Considered the most haunted site in a city brimming with spiritual energy is the McRaven mansion in Vicksburg. The three chambers representing three periods of the American heritage actively support the argument. For watchers in this mortal coil, the tales of those left behind are endlessly looped night in and night out. Other bystanders gravely stand out in the yard. The horrors of a war split a country destroyed their lives. Tragic events abound on the pages of the violent canon of the property. Lost love, betrayal, dishonesty, and cold-blooded murder have left many of the prior occupants enraged. Modern McRaven mansion occupants have suffered physical injuries. The house is available to visitors today, those with the right temperament to deal with such unusual events. U.S. Ghost Adventures covers it everything below for those not ready to reach such unusual heights. One of the oldest Vicksburg mansions in the city, built in 1797, is established beside the Mississippi River in 1811. Its closeness to the river and the adjacent Natchez Trace made it a significant commerce hub. The Natchez Trace was a trade route from contemporary Natchez, Mississippi, to Nashville, Tennessee, for millennia before to European arrival. Traveling more than 440 kilometers, this road was dotted with robbers and bandits. Among these unpleasant individuals was Andrew Glass. According to the stories, he erected the two-story McRaven house as a hideaway. Still coated with the distinctive blueberry and buttermilk paint he shellacked onto brick walls is the kitchen. The local tour guide said Mary, his wife, killed him, finding him passed, slitting his throat with a razor blade. Still, one of the most ghostly rooms in the complex is his own. Many female tour guides feel unsafe behind its doors. Like many folklores, the truth gets mixed with fabrication throughout time. Real Andrew Glass was a local rich landowner. In the once Spanish town of Fort Nagels, he paid the first luxury tax. He very certainly constructed the first house but never engaged in theft. How then did the misunderstanding arise? John Merle, a Natchez Trace bandit, sought to spark a slave uprising in the South in 1835. As anarchy descended, he aimed to seize command of the South. Although his scheme failed finally, it sparked discussions about conspiracies in big southern towns. Believing them to be part of the scheme, a mob banished all gamblers from Vicksburg on July 6, 1835. 5 of them were shot in process and lynched. Involved in Merle's excitement, Sheriff Stephen Howard would subsequently be house owner. According to some beliefs, Andrew Glass sold the mansion to Howard, and the tales became mixed as years went by. Stephen Howard completed the Empire-style house extension in 1836. The chamber still looks exactly as it did in 1797, including Glass's design. Tragedy followed swiftly when Howard's young wife, Mary Elizabeth, passed away in the house during delivery. Heartbroken, Howard left, but it seemed Mary's soul stayed there. Her room, full with many of her unique items, is the scene of many kinds of spiritual activities. Cabinetry and doors open and shut on their own. Many have witnessed her ghost. One tour leader saw a mattress depression. The visitors were shocked when the indentation vanished as the guide ended Mary's story. John Bob, whose brother had bought the house from Howard in 1837, inherited it by 1844. Bob held the house quietly, building the Greek Revival part in 1849 until the Civil War started. During Admiral David Farragut's journey up the Mississippi River, Vicksburg became to be a major battlefield. Vicksburg succumbed to Farragut in July 1862 after numerous difficult fighting. The city is packed with caverns today where people would bury themselves to escape Union bombardment. Bob converted his house into a military hospital, and 25 servicemen are buried on the grounds. Used to silence the cries of troops undergoing horrific Civil War-era operations, bullets bearing tooth marks have been scattered throughout the site. Many visitors say they have seen troops strolling among the woods. Bob discovered black Union troops invading his yard during the subsequent Union takeover. He threw a brick at one of them to fast escalate things and knock the soldier unconscious. He immediately proceeded to the courts to atone with Union General Henry W. Slocum for his deeds. The apologies was accepted, but Bob was greeted by 20 or so troops when he got home. He was executed when they led him to the rear of his land. It was the first instance of a civilian in Vicksburg dying under occupation forces. 1882 saw William Murray buy the house from Bob's widow. 1911 saw his death in the house. His wife followed not too far after. Ella and Annie, Murray's 2 children, stayed at the house until 1960 when Ella deceased. The 2 of them give the story a weird dash of discomfort. They almost lived in total seclusion, rejecting the conveniences of contemporary utilities such flowing power and water. The sisters would even separate to the extent of old furniture being used as fuel. Along with their father, they are still evident all about the home. Maybe something darker was living in the house and still does. Leyland French of the French Mustard family bought the home in 1985. One night he claimed to have seen a ghost of the dead William Murray because his pictures still surrounded the house. Not too long thereafter, he started to be tortured physically by a ghost. Some invisible force crashed his face against the earth, shattering his spectacles and needing consistency and healing. He left house never to go back. He won't get calls regarding the house from anybody today either. Currently proprietors, the Reed family provide tours. Tour guides object to spending the night. We cannot say we blame you if your fear prevents you from visiting yourself. For more horrific tales from the South and abroad, keep reading our blog.